The auto injector came out, so you have heard about that way. But again, the main way, which is the naloxone hydrochloride that is given by medical folks, administered by ER, fire rescue folks, ambulance squads, is this. Okay, it is the NARCAN that is normally given out in 0.5 to 1 milligram dosages. Okay, but it is the exact same thing you're walking out here with. Just under, this is what they give, and actually yours is far more powerful. You'll learn in a minute. What does it do? It's an opioid antagonist, meaning it immediately binds with the opioid receptors in your brain, your heart, your lungs. It immediately kicks off whatever that person ingested. Anything they've ingested, any painkiller, any narcotic, any opioid. Okay? It only lasts 90 minutes. 90 minutes. Keep that in the back of your head. That's an important number. So if you administer Narcan to somebody, they need to go to the ER by fire rescue. Not in an Uber, not in your vehicle, not in a police car. They need to be accompanied by paramedics to help them in case they have an incident during the event. Allergies are incredibly rare. So again, it's been around, almost 65 years. Allergies are very rare. It's an opioid antagonist. It immediately binds with the opioid receptors in the heart, lungs, and brain. So it immediately works. Safe and effective. Allergies are rare. You're hearing me repeat some stuff over and over. Guess what? It is a wonder drug. If you give somebody who doesn't need it, it will have no effect. It works. This spray that I'm giving you, well, let me find, sorry. Oh, a little discombobulated at the beginning of the class. I've got my scanner running in case you're wrong. You might hear it, in case we hear an overdose. The reason I'm doing it here, this plaza here, this corner, that corner, Point Beach, has had about 60 overdoses in the past year. Right over here, there was an overdose that made national news. 2 women overdosed right over here with their babies in the car. That was on the national news about 5 years ago. Lots of overdoses. But it could happen anywhere. It's the leading cause of death right now in the USA for Americans. So you stepped out, but you missed opioid antagonist. Immediately binds with the brain. 90 minutes is when it wears off. Allergies are incredibly rare. It's a benign drug, meaning it can only help. It cannot hurt. It will work on any narcotic, pain pill, opioid derivatives. So let's step back for a second. We've heard about the challenges going on today. It's a pandemic, but has it always been like this? If most of us are a little older, if you think about people in the 60s and 70s, rockers who talked about sex, drugs, rock and roll, who shot up, what was the pain medication, the drug of choice back in the 60s, 70s, 80s?
Heroin.
Heroin, good.
Yeah.
Now, what's different today? What is killing most people who are dying of an overdose? Fentanyl, very good. Fentanyl is lacing everything. That's important. Fentanyl is 100 times more powerful than heroin. So understand, they don't know fentanyl is in it most of the time. This spray that you will walk out with, all of you will walk out with, will save a 1-day-old baby who accidentally got into a pill, and it has saved a couple of day-old babies. It'll save a 10-year-old child at a swimming pool who found a little baggie. It'll save your dog that you're walking that gets into a baggie of opioids. It'll save a 100-year-old little lady who accidentally took an extra pain pill. It'll save the 30-year-old muscle-headed guy who's overdosed 10 times this month. It will save the 17-year-old girl who's taking a pill for the first time in her life at a party that somebody gave her, and she went to cardiac arrest and died due to fentanyl. This is a lifesaver. You can't screw up. If it's a heart attack, it won't help them, it won't hurt them. If it's an alcohol overdose, and that's why they're out of it and maybe not breathing, they're dying from alcohol poisoning, won't help them, won't hurt them. If it's a diabetic emergency or a seizure or a stroke, it won't help them, it won't hurt them. If they haven't taken opioids, it won't help them, it won't hurt them. If they have taken opioids of any kind, including fentanyl, carfentanil, acrofentanil, acetylfentanyl, fentanyl derivatives, opioid synthetics, opioid analogs, oxycodone, anything at all, heroin, and then the basics, heroin, morphine, poppy, all that stuff. If they have taken an opioid derivative, a painkiller medication, it will bring them back to life. So understand, if you administer the right dosage in the right time, you will save a life almost always. The right dosage is 4 milligrams. Just remember that, and it's on your package. That's what you're getting. You're getting 4 milligrams. The right time is how many minutes before brain damage occurs? Anybody remember from CPR?
5 minutes.
Very good, 6 to 8 minutes. Yeah, it starts at 4. It's irreversible at 6 to 8. So if you can get them in 6 to 8 minutes, and you give them the right dosage, which is 4 milligram, and you will bring back the dead. 93% of the time, this will reverse somebody. This spray that you're walking out with. What kind of nursing do you do?
I'm a home care nurse.
Okay. Maybe way back when you probably learned pharmacology, the NARCAN. And, yeah. Okay.
We use it a lot because we give infusion pain medications.
Pain medication,
we have
okay.
to have NARCAN in order to do that.
Got it. And folks, this is Mike, the owner. Thank you, Mike, for hosting us
Thank
here.
you.
The owner of DIY Frozen Yogurt. I hope you'll stay. Maybe buy yogurt. Spread the word about this great venue.
God, so nice.
It is so hard to get folks, business owners that will open up their shop, that will let us do classes. Mike has just really been a stand-up guy, and we're going to save lives. Going back to my nonprofit, I've trained 6,500 people in over 400 events in all those states I mentioned. Out of the 6,500 sprays I've given, over 250 people have saved a life. It would not surprise me if one of you in here in the next year called me and say, hey Louis, can I get another one? I use that spray to save a life. Okay, you don't have to worry about storage, temperature, or expiration dates at all. Ignore them. You probably know from medicine, pills work beyond their expiration date. What's the longest or oldest medication that we've ever taken that we had in the cabinet that we were sick and we said, let me go see if that works? What was it and how old was it? I'm sure we've all. What's that?
Years.
Okay, what kind of medication?
A prescription.
Pain medicine or antibiotic? Okay, my experience. I've had a Z-Pack that I was shocked at. A Z-Pack, an antibiotic that worked 5 years. I was in my cabinet. I'm like, oh my God, it's not going to work. It worked. I've heard of people with pain medicine taking it years beyond the expiration date. But NARCAN here is one of those medications that will work well beyond the expiration date. So just keep that in the back of your head. Ignore the expiration date, ignore the stored temperature. I'm going to give each of you, if you want, 2 NARCAN. I normally give out single sprays, but we have had a low turnout Wednesday and today. Oh, by the way, again, if you're posting this on social media, please spread the word. I'm doing 2 more classes next week, Wednesday and Saturday, 2 to 3 p.m. right here in Boynton Beach. On Boynton and Seacrest by City Hall at DJ's Diner. What's that?
I do one at the gym. There's one at the gym.
Which gym?
LA Fitness is one.
Somebody's doing a NARCAN class there? No.
No, a fundraiser.
Yeah, I would love to get into LA Fitness. I've done giveaways. I'm a member of LA Fitness. Big corporations are not key. Anyway, so the right dosage, right time will bring back the dead. No harm, no foul. You cannot screw up.
When they're completely dead?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, they
like
did.
flatline?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Like in Pulp
Wow.
Fiction, they will go back from dead. You're pumping on their chest, doing CPR, to wide awake, because this is high dosage Narcan. Okay. So a couple of urban legends. Let me go back to that dosaging on the Narcan here. Okay. There are urban myths and legends. That remains the biggest challenge. And I'm going to remind me to come back to dosaging here before my 10 minutes is up. This timer keeps me on track. This used to be a 2-hour class, what I did before the pandemic. And we would go over CPR. We would talk about harm reduction, talk a little bit more about addiction. But because of the pandemic, I'm grateful to have classes, so I've whittled it down to 1 hour. So if you're wondering why this guy talking so fast, I'm shoving a lot of information into 1 hour. And I want you to know that, because in order to use it and not hesitate, I think after an hour you'll feel comfortable. So it is not designed to induce withdrawal. And right now we're talking about misconceptions, myths, urban legends. A lot of people think Narcan puts them into withdrawal. No, it can. It does sometimes. It's not meant to put everybody into withdrawal. Withdrawal is brutal. It's like the flu times 1,000. So keep that in mind.
Wow. People
People generally use drugs because it's a disease, not a life choice. They don't want to be selling their bodies for drugs. They don't want to be robbing people. They don't want to be worrying about where they're going to be sleeping tonight. Nobody wants to know whether I'll be alive or dead tomorrow. Nobody wants to put their loved one through hell because they're battling drugs or alcohol. It's a disease. Substance use disorder or the disease. Getting back to what I said, when you hear about heroin, in the older generation, heroin was the primary narcotic, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and even through the early 2000s. Fentanyl has really only hit the market in the last 20, 25 years. Very different. During my time, my 20 years in fire rescue, we'd go on heroin overdoses quite often, or the pain medication overdoses. What we never saw, we're seeing today with the opioid crisis, with the fentanyl overdoses. We never saw 6, 7, 8 people overdosing together, as we had with the West Point cadets about a month ago down on spring break. We never had a person laying outside Dunkin' Donuts draped over the railing in an unconscious position. We never had somebody in traffic driving, have an overdose and crash into a house. That never happened with heroin. It's very common now with opioids. It's a whole different situation, and it's very, very powerful and overwhelming. Okay, there is no addiction potential. You cannot get high. Some people think because the name says narc, it's got narcotics. It did not. When it came out in the 60s, it was actually stood for narcotic cancellation drug. That's how it's called, NARCAN. Okay? There's a myth of Lazarus parties. People who are opposed to this, and I'm so grateful you're here. Again, I can't beg you enough. Please go home if you're brave. Post on social media. You'd be surprised at the discussions you open up. Ask people, do they know about Narcan? Do they carry Narcan? Hey, go find them. They can go to iSave Florida. They can Google me, Luis Garcia Narcan. They can call me at the phone number and the certificate I'm going to give you. Post my phone number, 954-859-4696. It's on your cert. I do classes, like I said, next Wednesday and Saturday, 2 to 3 at DJ's on Boynton and Seacrest. I will also be at a ballroom dance studio in West Palm on Saturday, May 7th, doing a 4-hour Zumbathon and classes and raising funds.
Oh.
Yeah. Yes, go ahead.
Did you say you can pick it up at Walgreens
Yeah,
without
yeah.
a prescription?
I'll come back to that. You were outside, but I covered that. Hold on a second.
Okay,
Hold on.
'cause,
Go ahead. Question? That's okay.
I'll get the
Yeah,
DJ
hold all your
thing
questions,
on.
guys,
Yeah.
because I'm probably going to answer them, believe it or not, in and out. CVS and Walgreens. Anybody can walk in. All you do is you say, I'd like Narcan. They have to order it. They'll get it tomorrow or the next day. And then it's a matter of paying for it. The vast majority of insurance plans do cover it, even if you haven't been to a doctor in years, even if you're not currently prescribed pain meds, even if you're not in addiction recovery. They'll give you 1 box, 2 dosages. That's how they sell them. Otherwise, if you don't have insurance, and again, if you have insurance, it's generally your generic copay, 5, 10, 20, whatever you normally pay for generics. And if not, it's $150 to $170 for a box of 2. That's what I was buying these for when I started 4.5 years ago. So anyway, so other myths, that there's Narcan won't work on every fentanyl. Once in a while you'll read a headline that says Narcan resistant fentanyl hits Point Beach or hits Boca. Not true, it's a myth. You may need higher dosages of Narcan, but in general, Narcan will work. The key is if we get to them within that 6 to 8 minute window, it will bring back the dead. Brought back Demi Lovato, it would have brought back that West Point cadet who died. Guaranteed if somebody there had Narcan. Opioid patients are rarely combative. That's an excuse used by police departments to not carry Narcan. And I have no problem being quoted. I come out on TV and said the Sheriff Rick Bradshaw is opposed to letting his police officers, his deputies, carry Narcan. Did you know Palm Beach Sheriff's Office, PBSO, does not carry Narcan? They are one of the very few, only police departments in the Dade, Broward, Palm Beach, Tri-County area. Everybody carries them. School police, the university police, the tiny police departments on A1A carry. Sheriff Bradshaw won't. It's simply because he judges people who do drugs as choosing to do drugs, and they can stop. So a lot of this, the issues that, why don't we have more Narcan out there? Why aren't there publicly funded detox and rehab beds? Why is everybody opposed to needle exchanges? It's stigma. It's judgmentality. We assume those persons can stop. We assume they are less than. And we're not being good human beings, good Christians, good Jews, good whatever we are, good spiritual beings if we judge others. Instead, we should try to help them. So again, with this, you can save an animal or human life. Okay. And again, thanks for holding your questions. There's no proof that Narcan enabled addiction. That's another one. They're saying we're just enabling the problem. You're making it worse. They're going to die eventually.
Right.
This isn't helping. Not true at all. A person could overdose many times before they get help. Real quick, I did a class about 3 years ago in Miami at an office building. Great turnout. It was Valentine's Day.